males and beta males. And my view on this is why as I say in the description, the so-called left, they're not really left, but that's what they call themselves, the left, the progressives, we'll use their words today, are let's start with anti-Trump. And it's because they have not seen what a real man is like. All these 20-something cucks, all these brainwashed teenagers and 20-somethings, even to 30-somethings, have never seen a real man. Because over the last 50 or so years, and even since the beginning of television, we have seen nothing but the demonization of manhood. Whereas in the 20s you had movie stars like John Barrymore and Tom Mix, and in the 30s you got Hopalong Cassidy, and then John Wayne came along. These were the embodiment of manhood. These were the real men. These were portrayals of Hollywood, most certainly. These were, but they were looked up to. They set a standard, maybe unrealistic, but they set a standard that, a man, what does a real man do? He saves the girl. Is chivalrous. Chivalry died in my lifetime when I was a child. You can see it if you watch television, as I do. I study television, old television from the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s. It all started to change in the 70s. There were still some good programs in the 70s. But it changed. It changed. Conservative values through Norman Lear started to be mocked, and it backfired too. Like Archie Bunker was supposed to be made fun of, whereas in reality, during the run of All in the Family, Archie was an anti-hero, and the meathead was, as history would prove, to be totally off his rocker, to be a meathead. And that's exactly what these beta males are. There's an alpha male, Archie Bunker, and a beta male, Mike Stivic, right there. I didn't even plan on talking about that. I want to go back to the President of the United States, though. Here is somebody that is not out to get you. Here is somebody that wants to see you prosper. Of course, neither he nor Alex Jones are perfect people, and these are the two people that I want to talk about. And of course, as a Christian, I am going to talk about the ultimate alpha male, and that is Jesus Christ. But I want to get through the human people. Not the God person, but the human person. And that is the imperfect Donald Trump and the imperfect Alex Jones. These two have influenced me over the last year and a half as nobody else in my life. I grew up, I'm 53 years old. I grew up with very weak, unlike some people, I grew up with male role models, but they were very weak male role models. One, I'm not going to mention who they are. They are family members. I'm not going to mention who they are. One was a very weak male. Very weak male. The other one was a very strong male with his mouth. He never hit us, but he was very strong, dictatorial. very dictatorial. So those were the two role models that I had. On top of that, I had very strong-willed women in my life. Very strong-willed women in my life. So, as I got older, I was totally confused. And I think that's my generation. I see men my age, in my generation, if they've had, most of them, they've had multiple marriages, they have multiple children where they have no contact with them, many of them. They talk about women in obscene ways. I mean, I'm not even going to repeat it, but basically, I'd like to do this to that one, like they were 14. In other words, most of the males in my generation never grew up. They developed at 14, 13, and they're just totally horny all the time. I don't know what's so attractive about that. Yeah, one young lady I know, her previous boyfriend was a good 30 years older than her. I live in a country where, I live near a country where that is very acceptable. And by what she's telling me, it's like, and then she shows me his texts and his emails. You would think a 12-year-old wrote this. And he's military. Yeah, he's retired military. He's this. He's that. And the most interesting part, he fancies himself an ordained minister. He goes around telling everybody he's an ordained minister. And I tell him that's just to get down your pants. These are beta males. This is what we grew up with. We did not have strong male role models or leadership. We didn't have it in the church from the pastors, who are a bunch of cucks, and I have yet to see a headmaster at a Christian school be a real leader. Don't know. Most of them just hide in their offices and don't ever come out, except that they act very nice. They're very nice people. They smile. They shake your hand. But don't bring them any problems because they don't know how to handle them. Donald Trump knows how to handle problems. He knows how to handle controversy. He knows how to handle, I'm going to say this, he knows how to handle women. All right, so he's on his third marriage. But you can look at his children. And maybe there's one child that he doesn't have a good relationship with. His daughter, who's his college-age daughter, who's in West Palm Beach, I can't remember her name, who's going to school down there. She seems to be very distant from him. I don't know. That's what just seems from the media. But with the other four children, he seems to be very close to. And they seem to reflect him very well. And they seem to adore him. So why is the left pissed off about this? Because this is different behavior. This is different behavior. They have never had a father figure. Donald Trump is a father figure, maybe even a grandfather figure to some. And these beta males, these teenage beta males who've been brainwashed by the public schools, brainwashed by the Christian schools too, and just totally brainwashed by the media, by smartphones, iPhone or something else, by technology, by what they see on anywhere, by their friends, and by their absentee parents, which is all by design. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I think, like in my life, I really believe that everybody did the best that they knew how to do at the time. I'm not accusing anybody, but the reality is, I had no male role models. Or my brother had no male role models. I had bad male role models. But I'm not accusing it. I'm not complaining. But it took me 41 years to figure out, after I came to Christ at age 41, there's my first taste of a real man, so to speak. There is the ultimate alpha male in Yeshua the Messiah. Here is a man that provides leadership. Forget the salvation thing for a second, because that's not really what this program is about. We talk about that on our Bible teaching ministry, academybible.com. You can go there for Bible teaching, which I encourage you to do. This is more a cultural show through the lens of the Bible. What did Jesus do that made him alpha male? Well, of course, he led disciples. He taught disciples. He instructed. He cajoled. He nagged even a little bit. He got pissed off. He not only got pissed off at the money changers, certainly, that's the biggest example, and started turning over the tables and everything. But he also got mad when, for example, Peter, who was walking on water, lost faith and sunk into the water. He got pissed off when anybody would lose faith. Why? How long have I to be with you? He would say. He would yell at them. Got frustrated with these other beta males he was trying to instruct to be alpha males. This is what a real man does. An alpha male goes against what society says. And we have the established church, the Pharisees, these nice religious people in their long robes, praying in public, being holier than thou, accepting worship from the people in many cases. And there's only one person in the form of God to stand up to, and that's Yeshua the Messiah. Matthew 23. He really lays it on the line. You can look at that. I'm not going to go over that. But all those woes that he says to them certainly didn't make him friends. Didn't make friends with him. He's not. A real man stands up for his family, stands up for his country, stands up for his people. And that you see in both Donald Trump and in Jesus. And these people, and in both of those, that's different. And the beta males don't understand that. This is different. It's not what they want. They want what's comfortable. And what's comfortable is chanting. What is Maxine Waters chanting? Chanting, impeach 45, impeach 45. Or who was that so-called actor who had a 24-hour wall until the police brought it down? I don't know these people. Sheila Cuck, something like that. And they were just chanting at the wall, he will not divide us, he will not divide us, he will not divide us. That's all they got. They have a beta male has, when I was an actor, what an actor does is they have to find the motivation for the character. And we use the strongest action verbs we can possibly find for that moment. You can't play a negative. For example, if the acting teacher or the director says, "What's your motivation for this moment?" I say, to deceive, if I'm playing a bad guy. To deceive, or if I'm playing the good guy, to save the girl. Okay, then you go deeper than that. If I said to the acting teacher or the director to not tell a lie, that's not a good motivation because it's a negative, because I have not in there. So to deceive would be a better motivation. Well, the left, these cucks, these beta males, they're all playing negatives. You can't play a negative. They're not standing for anything. They don't know what to stand for. You got to do something other. You got to do something more than impeach 45, impeach 45, impeach 45. You got to do something more than he will not divide us. He will not divide us. That's all they got. Where is your motivation left? It's acceptable to them to lie and deceit and create violence because that's all they know. They only know chaos. Whereas somebody like Donald Trump, and of course we know that God is not a God of chaos. Satan is the God of chaos. Now, I've left out, I mentioned Alex Jones, and I want to talk about him a little bit now. Only Alex Jones, who is somebody I admire. Again, like Donald Trump, not perfect. And whatever you think of him, whatever you think of InfoWars, that's your business, that's fine. Maybe you don't like the fact that they don't cover Sandy Hook enough or something like that. Well, there's enough people out there covering Sandy Hook, like the Barry Soetoro channel, Russian Vids channel, and some other people cover Sandy Hook very nicely. You know, nobody's going to be perfect. That's not his thing for whatever reason. He has his reasons, fine. He does a lot of good things with InfoWars, and is expanding because he's a real male. He is an alpha male. He is totally in charge. It's his baby. He knows what he's doing, and he understands, it seems to me, he understands what servant leadership is, as illustrated by Christ. Now, I love to hear Alex Jones talk about the Bible, because his theology is just off a bit. Yes, I believe he's saved, he's going to heaven, but he's obviously not reading his Bible every single day, so some of his theology is a little bit off, but okay. All right, I get that. He's so driven to produce something. He is playing the positive. He is totally motivated. He's playing the action verb to the hilt. Maybe even just like the president is. Only Alex Jones can come up with a project and call it Caveman. Now, can't you just see, this would be a wonderful meme if somebody wanted to create it. Alex Jones in caveman clothes with a big, I can just see this, with a big bat, dressed like the Flintstones, and beating his wife over the head and carrying her back to the cave and I can see that. There's something so primitive about him, and I'm not knocking him. This is actually a comment. I'm being complimentary, actually. The rawness is what we need to see, and the wrongness is what the left is scared of in that case. Actually, Trump has more polish. Believe it or not, Trump has more polish. Maybe that comes with money. I don't know. No, that can't come with money because I think we all know people who are white trash millionaires. Look at Hollywood. Have you ever seen a bigger bunch of white trash in your life? Is the current crop of, oh crap, yeah, that's a good one, of Hollywood stars. And then if you look back, going back 50, 60, 70, 80 years, not that those people were perfect or good people, but there was, once again, as I said at the beginning of the program, there was a picture that they projected to the public, the Hopalong Cassidy image, the John Wayne image, the strong man, he's going to save the girl. This was a man. We didn't get that when we were growing up. I got a little bit of that. I got a little bit of it in The Courtship of Eddie's Father. Once again, a broken home. I got all the shows about broken homes. I got Courtship of Eddie's Father and The Brady Bunch, which I never liked. Really? Of the 60s, if I'm just thinking of this, Captain Kirk, William Shatner, was a great alpha male character, and probably one of the last ones. Compare him to the successors of the Enterprise captains. No. What a bunch of wimps. What a bunch of cucks. And this is what we need in this world right now, are more alpha males. That's what, they're my teachers, right here. Alex Jones, Donald Trump, and Jesus. Jesus I've been a Christian for 11 years, 12 years, and he's been slowly introducing that concept to me. And if I'm out with a girl, I know exactly what, he makes sure that he gives me a girl that lets me be the man. And it's a little scary, to be quite honest with you. Maybe sometimes I hyperventilate because it's new behavior. It's a new thing for me to act like that instead of scared and quiet and shy and whatever else goes along with being a beta male. But to be forced to take the lead, which Jesus has done for me. Has been one of the great journeys of my Christian walk, actually. And to see it in the embodiments of leadership in the White House and in the media, how a man behaves, caveman or otherwise, is exactly what this country needs. We fell in the garden. Adam and Eve had a little problem because Adam took the back seat. Well, it depends how you look at it, actually. Eve fell because Adam didn't provide the alpha male leadership. She became alpha female. Look at the problems we have. Sorry, ladies, that's what happened. Now, you can make the chivalrous argument that in order for Eve not to be totally lost by herself, he took and ate of the fruit also. So they were both lost. That, you can argue, is a chivalrous action. It wasn't so much the fact that she gave it to her husband and he ate. He knew exactly what was going to happen. He could have stopped it, I suppose. But you could argue that he followed the alpha lead of his wife, Eve, or that she was already lost and he was going to join her because that would be the right thing to do. That would be the alpha male thing to do, is to protect his wife or to suffer with his wife at that time. That's what he does. That's what an alpha male does. I feel so protected by this president. For the first time in my life, and I've said this on the other program, on the Academy Bible program, that for the first time in my life, I feel like somebody is in my corner. I feel like somebody wants me to succeed. He may not be perfect. He isn't perfect. I don't agree with all of his policies. But he's not out to get me. He's not out to get you. He has your best interest at heart. We can see that. We can see that with the way he came back from his European trips recently, from the G20, how he handled Putin, and how Putin, I knew even before the election that he and Putin, that's another one. I should have added him. There's another alpha male who I look up to. I do look up to Vladimir Putin because he is an alpha male. Again, former KGB, not maybe no friend of the United States, but he is somebody who cares deeply for his country and for him. And I think he does care about the people of his country. He's there for the best interest of his country every bit as much as Trump is in the best interest of this country, no matter what the beta males and the left say. The fact, and the both, and here's what all four, Jesus, Alex Jones, Vladimir Putin, and Donald Trump all have in common. They understand and they know how to deal with the enemies, their enemies, the people who are out to get them. They are all, four of them, willing to die if necessary. God forbid, in the name of Jesus, hedge your protection around all of them. You don't see them running away scared like the beta males do, whose vocabulary is just some vulgarities. That's all they got. They got chants and they got vulgarities. Whereas Trump, Putin, Jones, and Jesus have eloquence. They have leadership. They have problem-solving abilities, and they do it with finesse and style. That's my prayer for myself, that I get to that level, And that's my prayer for my generation, the males of my generation, and that's my prayer for the cucks, the left, the ones who hate them because they don't understand that's exactly what they need.